Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 178, Thursday, August the 30th, 2017. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just a couple of things here before I get started. First, I want to say thank you and welcome to all of our new subscribers. You know, it's been over in the past maybe 6 weeks or so. I picked up about 100 subscribers, so that's awesome. And I just want to say hello and welcome to all of you. Thank you for tuning into my videos and thank you for joining the community. And I'm sure that hopefully many of you have had a chance to do some comments in the comments section or what have you. And maybe some of you are just view the video. Some of you have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. But I hope you'll enjoy this community we have here. You know, it's a little bit different. I think I have the best, it's not the biggest YouTube channel, but I think I have the best YouTube channel, and it's because of the subscribers that I have. If you look in the comments section, you know, you go to a lot of YouTube channels, there's a lot of people arguing and fighting and name calling and getting really nasty. We don't have a lot of that goes on, mainly because I police it. I've only had to ban one person. You can have disagreements, you can debate the issues, that's all good and well. The only thing I really don't tolerate is, you know, people getting nasty, calling people names, that type of thing. If you do that, I'll send you an email and tell you to tone it down. If you do it again, I'll give you a second warning. The third time, you're banned. I've only had to ban one person. So I'm fortunate to have some really good subscribers and a really good community of people. And what I do here is not to tell you what I think, what you should think. I tell you what I think. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with me. I have no problem with people disagreeing with me, taking issue with me on things. We can have a reasoned, rational debate about the differences we have, or we can all chime in about the things we have in common. This is all good. It's a conversation that goes on between me and my subscribers, the people who watch the video, and amongst the commenters themselves, maybe having comments and conversations between themselves. That's all fantastic. Just want to keep everything nice if possible. You know, when people start calling people names, getting vulgar and stuff like that, that's when I kind of have to police it up. And I can do that because I still have a pretty small channel, you know, and of course I haven't been hit by trolls too much yet, so I'm sure I'll have to deal with them eventually, but for now I haven't had too much of a problem with that. But anyway, for those of you who are new subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in, and we're happy to have you. Also, something about YouTube, they have changed their notifications, I understand, and it's causing some problems with some people getting their notification. You know, if you're a subscriber, when I upload a video, you'll get an email saying, yeah, the seeker just uploaded a new video. If you're having problems, you're not getting your notifications, or if you're a new subscriber, or if you're an old subscriber, you're just not getting notifications, what you may need to do just go ahead and click on that subscribe button again. Even if you're already subscribed, click on it and you'll see a little like bell icon pop up just to your right of the subscribe. Click on that bell. It'll pop up a dialog box. It'll ask you if you want to receive notifications when I upload a video. Just check the box yes, and that's all you do, and you'll start getting notifications again if you've stopped getting them. So just something you have to deal with when you're dealing with YouTube, Google, whatever. They make changes a lot of times and it messes things up. So if you're having that problem, that's how you solve it. You just simply resubscribe, click on the little bell icon, check the box, yes, I do want to receive notifications. Now, as I just mentioned, a lot of times with people who make comments, I read all the comments. And sometimes people ask me questions and I respond almost all the time. Sometimes people ask me questions, I respond to them personally in the comment. Sometimes I actually include it in the video. Sometimes I get ideas for topics that people want me to comment on or research, and I get those ideas from the comments. So feel free in the comments section to suggest to me questions you have or things you want me to talk about or whatever. I'm always happy to do that. Just join the community and you know, make yourself at home. It's a friendly place. Okay, so that's basically it. Now, as I just said, with the comments, sometimes people will say something in the comments section, and maybe they'll have some information that I did not get. So we recently had that happen in my last video. The lovely and talented Maura, one of my favorite subscribers, who we all love and adore, she recently posted up a comment stating that she just recently found out, I think she said Saturday, that they have reached the conclusion that there was no Trump-Russia collusion. Of course, we all knew that, but she said that she got a message, or I guess a text message on her phone, alerting her that this conclusion had been reached, that there was no Trump-Russia collusion. I assume she's talking about the Mueller investigation. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Maura, for posting that up. I did not know that. I did not hear that. And you also suggested that now they're focusing on Manafort. Now, I suggested a few weeks back that one thing they might try to do is, if they can't get nothing on Trump, which they know there is nothing, that they might try to find some little violation by someone around Trump, and then try to bring some heavy charges on them and say, well, we'll let you off the hook if you give us something on Trump or something like that. So this is certainly a tactic that's probably being employed by Mueller. I would not doubt it. But I don't think Manafort will fall for it. He's a smart guy. He's been around a long time. Even if he had a little something on Trump, I doubt if he would cough it up. He's got a lot of money. He's got good lawyers. He knows how this game is played. I don't expect anything will come out of it, even if they do try to pressure him over some minor violation. I'm not too concerned about it at all. I think it's pretty much going nowhere. I think the main point of the whole thing is simply to gin this stuff up and keep it in the headlines and keep the media talking about it and keep it, being talked about on social media, and just to continue this, just simply to antagonize, to beat down and cause Trump problems, keep him from being able to move forward with his agenda. I really think that that's all it is. It's more of a nuisance campaign than it is a serious campaign to try to find criminal wrongdoing and prosecutions and things like that. This is at least the way I see it. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, let's get to some TowerGate news. Here's a story you all like. There is a petition now on the White House website to declare George Soros a terrorist. The goal is to get 100,000 signatures. Currently, there are 40,000 signatures, a little over 40,000. And they want to basically label him as a terrorist and cite him for acts of sedition against the United States, which he is, of course, guilty of, not just here in the United States, but around the world. He's a very busy man, very busy creating chaos and that type of thing. He funds these opposition groups, gets them to cause civil unrest. He gets the party started, then they fuel it, and wait for, civil society to collapse. This is part of the Soros plan. It's what he's been doing. He's had a lot of success with it. I don't believe he'll have success with it here. Now, the thing about this, the White House website, is that when you put a petition up, once it gets 100,000 signatures, they must respond to it. So it kind of forces their hand to take a look at George Soros, which many of us have been calling for a very long time. He is a menace. But he's not just a menace, but just as it says in on the petition, he's involved in acts of sedition. He's responsible for fueling a lot of the civil unrest and a lot of the violence that's happening right now. And it needs to be pointed out. He needs to be called out. He needs to be held accountable for that. So very good. We finally see George Soros. We finally see that people are standing up and pointing out what a menace he is. People want something done about it. And maybe this will have some effect. Next up, let's see. The JMC Analytics poll now has Jeff the Flake down 26 points to Kelly Ward. 26 points. So he's dropped another 12 points since last week. So things are not going well for Jeff the Flake. His position on immigration is very unpopular. He's a hardcore anti-Trumper. He's made a lot of gaffes in the last few weeks. And quite honestly, as I said before, Kelly Ward is not the greatest candidate in the world. She does support Trump and that type of thing, but she's not real, she's not wonderful. She doesn't appear to be overly intelligent or charismatic or anything like that. She's nothing special, really. She's, okay. She's not bad, but she's not wonderful. And she's right now got Jeff the Flake down 26 points. And again, this just points to, like I said, there's many signs out there that there's going to be some big surprises in the primary elections in 2018 and 2020, both for Republicans and Democrats. I think we are going to see something happen in the next two election cycles. It's going to be quite extraordinary. Hollywood, the box office is off 70% from last year. Again, as I told you yesterday, the American people have various ways that they can show their disapproval with what is going on. They're too busy to go out and protest in the streets, like a lot of these young folks who apparently are being funded by Soros or mommy and daddy or somebody. Most people have to get up and go to work every day. But they do have other ways that they can exercise their thoughts and their beliefs and that type of thing. And one way they can do it is by withholding money from people who they disagree with. And clearly Hollywood is on their shit list because the box office is off 70% from last year. So a lot of these Hollywood whack jobs that are out there speaking badly of the president, calling for his assassination and various other things, they are now getting the response. And again, this is just one of the many signals I am seeing that there's something really big coming down the road. Next up, Trump and Governor Abbott of Texas are getting high marks for their handling of the hurricane and its aftermath. Of course, it's still going on. It's going to be another 2 or 3 days. This storm is sitting over top right now of greater Houston. It's going to move out into the Gulf and then come back. So, this thing's going to go on for at least another 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 days. There'll be a lot more problems coming, more flooding. But when you look at this, the response compared to what happened at Katrina, you have to say that both Trump and his administration and the governor there in Texas have done a really, really good job, as well as all the people there in Texas, really pitching in, neighbors, friends, everyone pitching in, and everyone doing everything they can to help. And so it's a real strong situation you have there in Texas. You have a strong president, a strong governor, and very strong people living in the state of Texas, and they're taking care of business. Yes, they are. So you have to credit those people in a very tough situation. They're making the best of it, and proud of all the things that I'm seeing coming out of Texas right now. Yeah, Texans, you're making a lot of Americans feel very proud for what you're doing, and we wish you the best. And hopefully you'll be getting support pouring in from around the country, financial support, as well as I know here from Ohio, we've sent many people down there, relief workers, aid workers, firemen, people going down there with boats. So support is coming in from around the country as it should, and we'll get through it. We will get through it. Probably the most important story and the most disturbing story of the day is the following, coming to you from True Pundit. The FBI investigation of espionage, blackmail, charges on the Iran case being blocked by Obama DOJ appointee who worked for Holder and Lynch. Basically, federal agents believe that the Justice Department is meddling in the FBI's efforts to expand the Imran Awan and Hina Alvi investigation in what appears to be a blatant attempt to shield Democratic members of Congress from being caught up in the criminal investigation. The U.S. attorney in this case, appointed by Obama, named Channing Phillips, is running point on the case. He was appointed just months before the grand jury was convened to weigh the evidence in the Awan case. Trump has nominated a replacement, but it's being held up in the Senate by little Chucky Schumer and the Democrats. Okay, a lot to say about this. First of all, why in the world Sessions, Department of Justice, would even allow this case to be handled by a U.S. attorney who's a known Obama appointee, who probably has a conflict of interest because some of the members involved in this criminal investigation would certainly be on their team. That seems to me to be a conflict of interest. And why you would turn this over to one of these former Obama U.S. attorneys, knowing good and well what they've been doing for the past 6 months, makes no sense. I don't know if Jeff Sessions is aware of this or someone on his team. I don't know who is the one who decides which U.S. attorney gets to handle what case. but this certainly was the wrong case for this U.S. attorney to be given. Too much of a conflict of interest. In fact, what you see going on here shouldn't even be going on. The fact of the matter is, I blame this on the Chief of Staff, John Kelly. It is up to John Kelly. He needs to get a list of all the Obama appointee U.S. attorneys, as well as the Department of Justice lawyers. They need to be fired. They need to be fired, Mr. Kelly. You need to get that list. The president can fire them. He absolutely can. Of course, that creates a big void because you have to have U.S. attorneys and Justice Department lawyers to do the work. The president has nominated plenty of people to replace them. Unfortunately, they cannot get these people into their positions because they're being held up by little Chucky Schumer and the obstructionist Democrats, as well as a few obstructionist Republicans, anti-Trumpers, in the Senate. Very simple. They're wanting to play this little game. Well, Chief Kelly, let me tell you what. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are things that you can do. It's been done before. Obama administration did it. Clinton administration did it. Bush administration did it. Whenever you find that these types of games are being played against you, you have to take off the gloves and play a little hardball. Mr. Kelly, here's what you do. You get that list of all those people, those U.S. attorneys, those Department of Justice lawyers. You get that list to the president so he can fire them immediately. Then, you, Mr. Kelly, you contact Stitch McConnell, Twitch. You contact Paul, Big Ears, Eddie Munster, Ryan, and you tell them to round up the troops and get them back into Congress for an emergency session to make recess appointments of new U.S. attorneys and DOJ lawyers. You can do it in a week. Get every damn one of them positions filled. Problem solved. Yes, it's hardball, but you got to play a little hardball. Take a look what the Democrats are doing, Mr. Kelly. Take a look. They're not playing around. The president's awfully busy. He's juggling a lot of things right now. He can't do everything on his own. So, Mr. Kelly, you need to get that list together, present it to the president, fire those people, because we're all getting very frustrated, and the reason why we're frustrated is because we see all these crimes that we talk about here on TowerGate every day, and we're frustrated because we don't see anything being done. Well, the reason nothing's being done is because you have all these U.S. attorneys and Department of Justice lawyers appointed by Obama, which are dragging their feet, throwing wrenches into the spokes, and just not moving forward. This is the game that they're playing, Mr. Kelly. And you should be aware of this, as well as Jeff Sessions should be aware of this. You guys need to get together, and you need to say, okay, this is the game that they want to play? Fine. We have a little game we can play. You use the full authority and the resources that you have. Fire those people. Recess appointments, Mr. Kelly. RECESS, appoint MENTS. Recess appointments, Mr. Kelly. Lock that into your mind and get to it. It's called action. Take some action. Get your thumb out of your ass. Let's move on. That liberal professor that tweeted out that Houston deserved the hurricane for supporting Trump, well, he's been fired. I'm surprised it took so long. And I expect that he'll have a rough time getting another job. Hard to believe that this is someone who's teaching your children. Unbelievable. But anyway, he got exactly what he deserved. What a despicable human being he is. Now, I'm sure he can find another job in San Francisco or Los Angeles or New York, somewhere like that. But I can tell you what, this guy won't get a job teaching anywhere in the heartland. No siree, Bob. This liberal professor that tweeted out that Houston deserved the hurricane for voting for Trump is a scumbag. And I believe he has essentially been blackballed from teaching anywhere where the people have a lick of common sense and compassion and reason and humanity. Because this freak clearly has none. Attorney Ty Clevenger, who's been in the process of suing the rotten reverend and her lawyers to get them disbarred for their mishandling of classified emails, has just received a letter from the FBI denying his FOIA request because, according to the FBI official, whose name is David Hardy, the Reverend Rotten Clinton's case isn't interesting enough to the public to justify releasing the FBI files on her. You got to be kidding me. His response is, the FBI official response is, the Rotten Reverend Clinton's case is not interesting enough to the public to justify releasing the FBI files on her. This is insanity. First of all, the FOIA request doesn't require that there be any interest whatsoever by the public in anything. This is just a tactic, a delay tactic, an obstruction tactic. I'm sure that this FBI official is probably an Obama appointee. Mr. Ray, you need to call Mr. Hardy into your office and fire his ass immediately. Now, this is not going to work. The ACLJ, headed up by Jay Sekulow, one of the president's attorneys, is not going to, go away quietly, and I'm sure the attorney, Mr. Clevenger, and his team is not going to accept this either. I'm sure that they will eventually get those documents they're requesting through the FOIA, and hopefully Mr. Hardy will be joining that liberal professor in the unemployment line. Unbelievable. Got to drain that swamp, man. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. You know, many of you may not know, but the husband, Slick Willie, the husband of the Rotten Reverend, he actually was disbarred. During the Monica Lewinsky trial, he was found guilty of lying under oath. And he lost his law license, and he essentially was disbarred. Slick Willie was disbarred back in those days. So, hey, both the Rotten Clintons need to be disbarred. In fact, well, I'll get to that in a minute. How about right now? The Clintons have just sold their summer home in the Hamptons for $29 million. It had been under contract for 2 years. It was a 10,000 square foot house, and they had been actually renting this, or attempting to rent this as a summer property for $150,000 a month. But apparently haven't had too many renters because they finally decided to sell this home, $29 million worth. Now, what's happening to the Clintons is they're running a little bit cash poor. You see, when the Clintons had some power and they could deliver on pay-for-play and they could deliver things because they had the power to do so, many people were lining up to stuff their pockets with money. But now that they have no power, now that they can't grant favors, no one's really interested in paying Slick Willie any real money to give a speech. His speeches are boring anyway. Certainly no one's interested in buying any of Hillary's books or paying her to sit there and complain and cry about why she lost the election. No one cares, no one's interested, and it's boring. Therefore, the money has dried up, and they're finding out that the cost of maintaining the lifestyle that they previously enjoyed is quite expensive. Do you know how much it costs to maintain a $29 million property? It ain't cheap. And they still have that home in Chappaqua, and they apparently have another vacation resort home somewhere in the freaking island somewhere. That'll probably be on the selling block too, because the Clintons are now seeing the money dry up. They're also probably realizing that they're going to be needing to put back some cash for legal fees, because Hillary is about to incur a whole bunch of them, and it's not going to be as easy for them to raise money for legal fees as it used to be for the Clintons. So it looks like the Rotten Reverend will not be in her home, enjoying her home up there in the Hamptons any longer. But really, when you think about it, the Rotten Reverend really should be looking forward to a new residence. And my recommendation for the new residence where the Rotten Reverend belongs would be Alcatraz. That should be the Rotten Reverend's new digs. That's right. Alcatraz for the Rotten Reverend. That's where she belongs, along with that creep husband of hers. Well, Nancy Pelosi finally condemns the Antifa violence that occurred in Berkeley, which is basically her voting district. But apparently the Paul Eddie Munster Ryan with big ears is still remaining silent. Apparently, big ears Paul hasn't realized, Eddie Munster hasn't realized that Antifa is a hate group yet. He just knows that they hate Trump, therefore he must love them. This is going to backfire badly on Paul Ryan, and I believe that he is going to end up in the same position as Jeff the Flake. I'm going to work very, very hard. The number one target in the 2018 election is Eddie Munster, big ears Paul Ryan. That is the number one target. Yeah, Jeff the Flake needs to go, and many more. And I do see the signs that there is going to be some big surprises for a lot of establishment Republicans and Democrats in 2018 and 2020. I can see the signs all around me. It is building. Paul Ryan needs to be defeated by his opponent, who's a good man. We'll be talking more about him in the future, but that will be my primary focus during the election season. Paul Ryan. I'm going to put the target right on him, do everything I can to see to it that he is gone. He is a big, big problem. And Twitch McConnell, he's not up for re-election, but if by the end of the fall session in Congress, when they break for Christmas, if he hasn't produced some results, I think there's a very good chance we could pressure him to step down. And he wouldn't just step down as Senate Majority Leader, he would resign totally. So we may not have to wait very much longer. Twitch McConnell is following the same train of thought that Eddie Munster, Big Ears Ryan is following. They're getting some bad advice, but they're bad guys, and they both need to go. Nancy Pelosi, she could come out and condemn Antifa. Certainly, Big Ears, Eddie Munster, Paul Ryan should do the same. He's a bastard, and he needs to go. Paul Nehlen. Paul Nehlen. For those of you who live in Wisconsin, that's the two words you need to keep in your mind and on your lips. That's the man you need to check the box for in November, next November, 2018. Paul Nehlen. We'll be talking about him more in the future. You know, I was watching a clip of CNN with my good buddy, what's his name, Kumo, Mario Kumo's son, Chris, I think his name is. Very, very funny segment. He brings on the Louisiana governor, who's a Democrat, and he's peppering him about the response from the Trump administration to the hurricane in Texas. And he's expecting this Democrat Louisiana governor to tee off on Trump and join the crowd. Unfortunately, the look on Chris Kumu's face as this Democratic governor from Louisiana praises Trump and his administration for how they're handling the crisis just left Kumo completely speechless. His face is completely red. His eyes are sunk back in his head. He's stumbling over his words. He doesn't know what to do or how to act. He just looks completely blown away. You know, you would think that he knew what kind of a response he was going to get before they did the interview, but I guess they lined up the interview, had the guy come on live, and I guess Kumu didn't know what this Democratic Louisiana governor was going to say, but nothing but praise for Trump on this issue. And Kumo, he was really shocked. It's really funny. I should have put the link up so you could watch it. But Kumo's an asshole. We all know that. And it's not the first time he's looked like a fool. As I told you yesterday, he was out trying to support Antifa and their behavior over the weekend in Berkeley, and he just got slammed on his Twitter. I was looking at some of the comments, and man, there wasn't one single positive comment. Not one. Even from self-identified Democrats. This guy is a real, he's a freak show. Rebel flag sales are booming. Another sign of people showing that they actually do care and that they are paying attention and they know exactly what's going on. They don't like the idea that these monuments are being torn down, street names being changed. People want to ban the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem. I mean, there's no end to it. And Heartland America is not digging it. Not at all. and you're getting the response. I'm seeing these signs all around me. This is going to continue to build and build and build and build. That's why I'm telling you that in 2018 and 2020, we've got something historic coming our way. So I guess people want to get those rebel flags because they probably believe that they're going to be banned. There certainly would be people calling for the rebel flag to be banned. And so people are, it's just like when Obama came into the presidency and started doing all the anti-gun stuff. I mean, gun sales shot through the roof, 200% increase in gun sales. Gun sales are the strongest they've ever been under Obama. Since Trump's become president, gun sales have dropped about 30 or 40%. But hey, sales on the Confederate flag, the rebel flag, are skyrocketing. They can't keep them in stock. Get yours today. Finally, listen to the interview between Dana Rohrbacker and Sean Hannity, and very good interview. And Rohrbacker basically says that the meeting between he and Trump is being set up. He is going to get that meeting with Trump. Lots of people don't want that meeting to happen. The Senate and the House, Republicans and Democrats, the establishment, the deep state, and all the rest, doing everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen. But apparently, from what Dana Rohrbacker told Sean Hannity, Julian Assange has given him a personal message to give to Trump. Rohrbacker says getting the meeting set up, that is taking place right now. He is going to get the meeting with Trump. He's got some personal information to give to Trump. Apparently, Assange has given Rohrbacker some information, like a teaser, enough to say, hey, Mr. President, here's what Assange has given me. This is some of the evidence. He tells me he can make a total 100% slam dunk case to prove that Russia was not the ones who gave WikiLeaks those emails. He can prove it. He wants to prove it. He's willing to prove it. He will prove it. But you need to work with him a little bit here. So I have no doubt that there'll be some kind of a negotiation and something could happen here. I don't know that Trump can issue a full pardon to Julian Assange under the current circumstances and the political climate, but there's certainly something that can be done here. But apparently Assange has given Rohrbacker enough information to at least wet Trump's palate to let him know that Assange is serious. He is going to get the meeting, and it would benefit Assange in a big way because he is also being, he's being accused of being the person who was working with the Russians to publish this, to take down Hillary. So he's being targeted as well, not just Putin and Russia and Trump, but Julian Assange is a target as well. So he wants to clear his name, and Trump, of course, would love to be able to prove the Russian narrative as false. And of course, Rohrbacker, his interest here is that he heads the Committee on Russia, and he wants good relations with Russia, as does Trump. He also wants to make sure that for history, for the recording of history, that we get it right, and that he doesn't want it to go down in the history books that Russia hacked the election when they didn't. He wants to clear the record and get the truth out. Trump wants the truth. Mr. Rohrbacker wants the truth. Assange wants the truth. Something tells me they're going to find a way to get the truth, to get it out. And not just out there on the fringes and the elements on YouTube channels and things like that, but actually in an official capacity. Whether it's documents that Julian Assange will provide that will be read into the Congress, or will find a way to the Justice Department or the FBI where it can be investigated, where it can be checked out to make sure it's factually correct. But I do believe that there's some movement here, and of course Trump's kind of busy right now with a couple of things, but I do believe he's going to get this meeting with Dana Rohrbacker. I do believe Dana Rohrbacker's got some information for him. I think that they're going to find a way to work this thing out. I really do. So we'll just have to keep watching that. Alrighty. TowerGate, day 178, Thursday, August the 30th, 2017. Well, it looks like Friday will be the last day of August. It's Fun Friday. I'm sure we'll have some interesting things to talk about then. Thank you so much once again to all my new subscribers. It's awesome to have you with us. Thank you to all my older subscribers. Thank you for the comments, the thumbs up, sharing the videos. And Thanks for making this a fun place to be. I appreciate each and every one of you. You have a good evening. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, with Fun Friday TowerGate. You guys have a good night. Goodbye.